So let's talk about Swamp Thing.
Listen, Jill, God made me this way. Then I reject God. This is a Mr. Show episode where David Cross comes out as being bald.
Then
She's like, I respect you, but I can't, but I believe this goes against God's plans. But God made me this way. Then I reject God.
This isn't a glee club.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So Swamp Thing, the show, was an original show coming to the Disney Universe app way
DC
back.
Universe.
I say Disney, yeah. DC Universe way back in 2019.
God, this feels like 30 years ago.
Yeah, I know, right? It was a part of 4 shows to launch the app alongside Titans, Harley Quinn, and Doom Patrol.
2 of those shows are great.
Yeah, I have not really watched Titans. I've heard it kind of... Yeah, I don't even... I've heard it's not
I
good.
was never a fan of the comic books that much anyway, so yeah.
Luke described me a scene from...
Doom Patrol is just bizarre.
The season 3 episode, and I was like, that sounds stupid. And, yeah. So this is a summary of the show from WB. This was like their press release. So, quote, Swamp Thing, which is based on the DC comic book of the same name,
unquote,
followed scientist Abby Arcane on her trip home to Louisiana to investigate a deadly swamp-borne virus. She develops a close relationship with disgraced scientist Alec Holland, who tragically dies. But Abby soon discovers the real effects of the swamp after a gigantic swamp creature emerges and claims to be Holland.
What?
End quote.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, where's the...
Oh, sorry. What? You know what Alec Holland said when he was going to be Swamp Thing?
I'd lay down my life.
And then when he asked how much, when they were like, how much do you want to be paid for this, buddy?
$1 million, bitch.
In the bank account right now.
That's why it failed.
So this is also...
Just one of the many reasons.
This also is taking from Alan Moore's run. Like, this was going to be based on his Saga of Swamp Thing run, which is smart because that's the one that most people identify Swamp Thing with. I mean, obviously he was before that, and he's been in shit after, but when I think of Swamp Thing, I think the Alan Moore run with the whole anatomy lesson stuff and the more horror-based stuff, which is why I was excited because this movie or this show is going to be produced by James Wan, and James Wan makes a lot of great horror movies.
He made fucking Aquaman too, guys.
Yeah, and so he had a relationship with DC. So originally it was slated for 13 episodes, but during the show's production, Warner Brothers Television cut their order down to 10 episodes. Virginia Madsen, who played Maria Sunderland, wrote in a since-deleted Instagram post, quote, I'm beyond sad. What a terrible decision. We have been cut to the core by those who have never set foot into the swamp. And despite the rule, I'm going to use the hashtag Swamp Thing.
You're arrested.
You can't use that.
You can't do that.
You're fired. So yeah, kind of weird, and I remember seeing this, and this is what's the weird thing, and we're going to keep talking about this too. As
Doom Patrol had already come out at this point, right? Because I remember
Titans had come out. I don't think Harley had came out yet.
No, but I believe I'd watched a couple episodes of Doom Patrol, and they were doing it once a week too.
Yeah, because Harley was the last one of the original 4. And yes, so Swamp Thing was in between.
I was also watching World of Krypton. Or was it just called Krypton?
Yeah.
I was watching that, which was pretty interesting. But didn't last.
Yeah. They put it on the DC Universe app, and then I don't think it's on HBO Max. I don't know.
They stopped after 2 seasons anyway.
It was a cool concept to be like tell a Jor-El story, but
yeah, it was actually really cool.
But so yeah, the word comes out, and this is also happening rapidly before the show is even out. Yeah. So there was already drama surrounding this show before it even, and we'll talk more about this here in a little bit about the DC Universe.
Early returns from critics were like just stellar.
Yeah, the show and that's the baffling thing is because the show is well received,
but TV stations have never been accused of smart.
So here's how things
with their good TV shows
get more complicated and weird. So despite some drama before the show premiered, it was still set for May 31st, 2019. However, the show was shortly canceled after. When the news broke, hashtag Save Swamp Thing began trending, and James Wan took to Instagram to express his shock and dismay over the decision. So yeah, their first episode launches, and they also announced that it's canceled.
Yeah.
So how does anybody stay and watch that fucking show?
That's exactly what happened to me. And we talked about this off air.
Like you would just, you literally said that to start this episode.
Yeah, Doom Patrol. I've gotten into. I basically binged the entire first season after the second season had come out. Like I started with it, but then I fell off. I started watching something else. But I binged the first season. It was just amazing. Every episode was just better than the one before. Then second season kind of turned me off, like starting it. I've since got back into it, and I love the Doom Patrol. I think it's a great, like, strange, whatever. And I'm not going to lie, after I had seen 1 or 2 episodes of Doom Patrol, I was thinking about, I kept hearing this stuff about Swamp Thing, and I was thinking about it. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not check it out? And again, like before it even came out, almost it seemed like, I mean, I know it was like the same time as they released it, but it was like, why bother?
And yeah, that's the thing that was frustrating about this show for me is, I didn't really gain interest in Swamp Thing until he was announced to be in Injustice 2, and he was in that video game.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I read the I think the first arc of Alan Moore's run, and I really liked the character, and I loved how just weird and bizarre that whole concept is, because it reminds me a lot of, like, you have the magic side to Marvel. Well, you have that in DC, but then you also have this thing called the green, which is this whole other element.
There's
to
the green
DC
and the red,
universe, and all this other stuff. And I always thought that character was interesting, and I thought that character would make. And it's Wes Craven. Yeah, wasn't that Wes Craven that did those movies? Because there's 2 of them.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think
but
it was.
Yes, there were 2.
All I remember about those movies is Adrian Barbeau. Damn.
Also, the sex scene in the comic book is also handled better than in the movie, because there's a sex scene in the movie.
I didn't know that.
It's awkward, but anyway,
I don't remember seeing the movies. I know I've seen them, but I don't remember.
But so I would have been waiting to see something like that, and it was actually really cool because of the timing of this being announced and all this stuff. Was also the time when I was really interested in the character. So then to see, and you're right, the same thing happened to me. Mm-hmm. It killed the stakes, because it's
so way to go.
Yeah, you killed your own momentum. Because I was, and this is someone who wanted to. I literally had gotten the DC Universe app because of the comic book stuff, but I also was interested in Doom Patrol, and I was and then that Swamp Thing was one of the shows I wanted to watch.
So I got Roku streaming TVs, and there was a lag between when the DC Universe app shut down and HBO Max was an actual app. Before that, it was just HBO, and you could get it through, I think, Hulu.
Yeah.
I think you could get the HBO Max, but it took a little while before the actual just like a HBO Max app showed up. So for a little while, that's also why I think I stopped watching Doom Patrol at first, just because I couldn't watch it. But yeah, it was really piss poor planning, Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Really piss poor.
So
you got to get a new app.
Yeah. DC Universe would release the remaining 9 episodes, and then in May 2020, CW acquired the broadcasting rights, and many hoped that the network would #save Swamp Thing and revive the show for a second season. Unfortunately, the CW's chairman and CEO, Mark Pedowitz, said in January 2021 that it's highly unlikely the show will return, though he also said that the character may appear in a different form.
Oh, yeah, because that's exactly what we want, is a different version of the character. See, we're trying to save the show, not the character.
Here's the thing, and his design in the show looked fucking rad. Like, I liked how he looked and everything. Yeah. So that was unfortunate.
They got Abby Arcane totally nailed.
I still don't understand
who they got to play her.
I understand that CW has the distribution, but it's also CW is still WB. So why is it? Because I still think I have not seen Swamp Thing on HBO Max, which is silly, and just not have it on there. Because what do you have to lose from that?
Yeah, if it is or not. I mean, if it isn't,
And we're going to read more about this, but this show was originally a 3-season planned arc, which you don't see in TV anymore. So they said, we have a story we can tell in 3 seasons, and they were like, this is how we want to do it, and then you didn't even get it past 1.
I loved Deadwood.
And Deadwood was a 3-season show?
That got canceled like before it was ready to be over. There was at least one more season of stuff.
How'd you feel about the movie?
It was okay. I mean, Jeffrey Jones was in it, which is like, because he's a convicted pedophile.
It gives a little bit of closure.
Yeah,
but
you could tell during that scene that he's on set that everybody's like, why is he on set? Gross.
Yeah, but I was
gross.
When I mean closure, I mean the whole story.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
it was. I'm glad. I actually bought it. I actually bought it on Google Play because I didn't have HBO or regular HBO, and that was before HBO Max was on, so I bought it. I actually own it.
That's funny.
Dummy.
I liked the show, that show a lot too.
Yeah, the movie was good. I'm glad I watched it.
Especially because the way that season 3 ends, you're like, well, what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you find out it's not coming back. You're like, well, fuck you.
Yeah. So, why did DC cancel the show?
Because they're dicks.
So, according to an interview with an anonymous producer at Business Insider, the cancellation of Swamp Thing came completely out of left field. Quote, we walked away with the set standing. We didn't tear them down and go home.
And that's a good indication for those who are not in TV or whatever. If you're working on a show and it's got expensive sets, you wouldn't tear them down when you leave if you're coming back.
No, you just roll them over to the side and be done with them.
So literally what they're saying is just, hey, we didn't get rid of that stuff because we had every intention of returning to do more of the show.
It was a surprise. Well, especially because it wasn't that. I don't even think it was that. It had to be close to premiere time when they said that the season was cut down to 10 episodes. Because I don't.
Did they have to reshoot a bunch of shit or something? And
then, they did. They had to reshoot the ending because they had to cut off 3 episodes.
Piss poor, brothers.
And I don't know how TV production works, and I don't know that whole process, but I know that a lot of times the TV, they still are filming until, because don't they film the season while it's happening? Like,
it depends on the show, I think.
Well, they shoot all the episodes at once or at a certain amount of episodes.
I mean, as far as I know, like, a 22 episode season, I think. Especially like hour-long dramas or whatever, they're usually by the time the first show premieres, they're usually working on like episode 8 or 9. Yeah, so it is an evolving thing. Like those bigger hour-long dramas, like sometimes they start the season.
I think it was still close while they were still in production.
Well, sometimes you start a season off with like a clear plan in mind, and then things change while you're in the season. So.
So
which didn't happen with this, except for they had to rewrite shit.
The article also noted that Swamp Thing had originally been crafted with a 3-season arc in mind, with the potential to go further if the show was a hit, in the form of a Justice League Dark collaboration.
Fucking way to go, Warner Brothers.
See, this is the thing. This is the thing that's so frustrating. Like, there's so many cool ideas.
There was
and you know what the problem is, and I think Marvel is doing it more now, and because they have to. Yeah. But DC needs to embrace their weirder side more and the weirder shit. Like, do a Swamp Thing show. Do a Justice League Dark shit. Like, that would be fun. Like that's why there's so much to
a perfect.
Both of these universes, of the big two, both Marvel and DC there's so much more than fucking Captain America and Superman and Batman and Iron Man. There's so much more, and Spider-Man. There's so many more characters inside those worlds.
There's a reason why they're called universes, because there's parts
so many fucking, and we haven't even scratched the surface in the MCU of the cosmic shit that goes on.
Dude, the Ava DuVernay project that was scrapped now, the New Gods. That was all Kirby's Fourth World shit, and that shit is out there, dude.
Yeah.
And that's where like Darkseid comes from. It's like, why didn't
you got? That's where you get like Mr. Miracle and Big Bertha and Granny Goodness.
I was excited about that, and I got to be honest. Like the Flashpoint thing is like, okay, yay, but it's like, I don't know, man, because I know it's not going anywhere anymore.
It's frustrating because DC is so good at making more solo movies.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, it's frustrating is I would love to see a proper Justice League and not a Joss Whedon cut and not a fucking Snyder cut. I
have you seen that version of it called Justice is Gray? What the hell is that?
It's just a black and white version.
Fuck off, you fucking art house nerd.
So, like, how much more can you jerk off to the Snyder
Okay,
cut?
you know what? I bought the Logan, DVD,
Logan
Blu-ray.
I actually like it in black and white.
No, I bought that because it came with a version of, or it came with a disc of Logan Noir.
I have
now,
that,
I don't really need to watch it because whatever. It's a cool idea, but I basically got it because it was included.
Yeah.
I
It's
wouldn't
not
have
something you
bought
would buy.
it.
Yeah.
Art house nerds.
So one of the earliest and most widespread speculations was made by Movies.com writer John Golson via Comic Book Resources in a series of now deleted tweets.
And I remember those, yeah.
The story, which has been debunked, is that Swamp Thing was cut short because the series went over budget, and that the excess came mostly because of an accounting error blamed on the state of North Carolina where the series was filming.
Yeah, I remember this too.
So I remember seeing that too, and then I was thinking too, because regardless, either way, I think Warner Brothers comes out as fucking incompetent in this whole situation. But when I remember seeing that come out, and that right there, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You are Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You are arguably the second biggest entertainment company, like behind Disney.
Yeah.
You're like one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world, and you couldn't afford to do this because it sounds like it's fucking stupid. It's like you're going to cancel a show over fucking tax benefits, tax write-offs?
Yeah, at best you're incompetent, and at worst you're actively trying to kill a good show for no reason.
And honestly, I could see how this rumor spread and how this was thought to be true because we know that Warner Brothers shipped out the Joss Whedon, the Justice League as they call it. They shipped that out knowing it was bad, knowing it was confusing, didn't care. They said make it 2 hours, and they got their money. Like they literally pushed that movie out so they can get tax cuts and tax write-offs or whatever the fuck. And it's fucking frustrating.
And the story kind of makes sense. And it went that the Swamp Thing's budget was $80 million. And I remember this when it came out. And that North Carolina had, through a program to encourage filmmaking in the state, which Georgia's had a lot of success with this, promised to cover $40 million of the production costs through state grants. Then, as the early story goes, someone in the state of North Carolina government messed up, and Swamp Thing's production was only granted $12 million of the promised $40 million. So, short $28 million, the Swamp Thing production closed up shop. See, the reason why it makes sense is you're like, well, it came out from a reliable news outlet,
but the reason why it doesn't make fucking up.
But the reason why it doesn't make sense is if they really cared about the show, $28 million, they would just, here you go, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
Here. Keep going.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have just shut production up. I don't know. But shortly after that story began to circulate, Screen Rant reported that the accounting error theory simply wasn't true. And this also makes sense why it's not. Swamp Thing was granted $12 million for its first season's production, so that part was true. But that's the legal limit for the grant program that Swamp Thing's production team applied to. So that's it. That's the most you can get. There was never anything about, picking up half the bill. They were allowed, it looks like they were allowed a separate grant of $4.9 million for the pilot episode because that came in around $20 million alone, that one episode. But again, there was never a discussion of North Carolina picking up half the bill for Swamp Thing. That's just not true. So
it is true.
No, even if the budget was $80 million, the legal limit that they could get under North Carolina law was $12 million. So, sorry.
Which, yeah.
Nice story. And who circulated that was somebody from Warner Brothers circulated that story to be like, it wasn't our fault.
It's also hilarious that, of course, Warner Brothers would do that too. We're gonna circulate this story, so
yeah,
it was the North Carolina, those little bitches.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this poor state is trying to get some
those
money.
Fucking Tar Heels!
God damn it!
Anyway, so now we're going to the DC Universe HBO Max dilemma, which again also shows the whole AT&T Warner Brothers thing. A, not a good idea, and B, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
They should have had a plan in place, like Marvel
this-
did, or Disney did
We need to stop this.
when they acquired Fox.
We need to stop this lie in our culture that just because you're a CEO or a millionaire or billionaire, it means you're smart. It doesn't.
Oh hell!
It fucking
hell
doesn't.
To the fucking
Because none of these fucking assholes know what they're doing.
No.
All right, so another theory.
And then they leave and get a golden parachute. Nice.
Yep. Yeah, they
My fucking movie tickets go up.
They lay off a bunch of fucking employees, but their salary goes up. Yep, real cool. Another theory behind the cancellation is that DC Universe was doomed. In June 2018, AT&T completed the acquisition of Time Warner, of which the DC Universe streaming service is a part. When it reported Swamp Thing's cancellation, Deadline pointed out that, quote, DC Universe is being reevaluated following the completion of AT&T acquisition, end quote. So, yeah, this was a big thing because AT&T, they were kind of the big pushers of doing the HBO Max thing and getting all of the, which is smart.
I am actually cool with it, but like I was saying earlier, there was a lag between that. Like I wasn't able to access any of that content for like a good month at least before they set up HBO Max proper.
Yeah,
and maybe it was just because it was on. Maybe it was just because it was a Roku thing. I don't know.
Well, it also took a long time to actually put those DC Universe shows up on HBO.
Yeah,
Max.
it took a little while.
And they definitely took their time with popularity because the Harley Quinn show kind of took off, and they announced the season 2 way early on that show.
Yeah.
And I think they really knew what they had with that, so they tried to push that.
Have you watched that Aquaman show yet?
No.
Have you seen it? I mean,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. What the fuck? What is it?
Yeah. So it's interesting. In particular, Deadline pointed to Warner Media's upcoming streaming service that wrote that there have been I'm quoting here questions how DC
Turn
Universe.
the page when you hear the sound. Ding.
Yeah, you remember those?
Yeah.
You know what? I used to hate fucking popcorn reading. It's like, damn it, teach, calling me out for not paying attention. You know what that is?
Popcorn reading?
Popcorn reading would be like you're reading the story as a class, and then you reach the end of a sentence, and it'd be like, HBO Max, Tyler, and then you would have to read the next thing, and then you go as long as you want, but then you'd have to call somebody out, and then it was trying to see who was paying attention. School's weird. So the implication, the implication seems to be that if Warner Media is going to have its own streaming service, a separate DC Universe streaming platform might be considered redundant, which it would be.
True.
If that's the case, then producing new original series in the interim could be considered a waste. The theory that Warner was moving on from DC Universe is true because we now know that the DC original series are all on
HBO Max. We knew
HBO
that.
Max. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of factors already. You know, as we're coming towards the end of this discussion about this, I think there are. It's so weird because you know what this reminds me of the Constantine show, where it seems like DC said, "Sure, let's do this do this project," and then get to a certain stage and just kind of give up on it. Because that Constantine show, one, should not have been on NBC. Because if you're going to do a Constantine show, he's got to say fuck and shit and cuss.
You guys
and drink and smoke.
Listen, what people are forgetting is that largely the FCC can't touch the streaming shit.
No.
They don't have the teeth to do anything about it. I watched a free show called The Freak Brothers. We saw an ad for it.
Yeah.
That they played
a Tubi original.
They played an ad for it during an NFL show, NFL game.
Yeah.
NFL show. During an NFL game.
It is a show.
It is. It's a little fake. During a game, and I'm not sure how you set up like parental controls because I don't need to. But any kid could just go to Tubi because it's a free app, download it onto their smart TV, and then watch that show. And I watched a couple of about half the first episode last night. A lot of fucking titties. A lot of titties and sexual content and swearing. Now, I'm not a prude, but I'm just saying, look, you have the ability to do whatever the fuck you want almost.
Yeah. And Constantine is a character that's crude and
put it on Paramount. On Peacock, which is the NBC thing. If you did that now, you could totally do that because they
now
have
it would be
content
on
like that.
Yeah, and I can understand there might be some disputes with NBC, Universal, whatever, because Constantine was before the
now it would be on HBO Max.
HBO Max. Yeah. But that to me, and that's what I think of a lot of when I think of this Swamp Thing show, where there's effort put into it. There's some, they had James Wan backing it. You had this, and then things just started to spiral out of control.
Yeah, and
it pisses me off, because not just because I like Swamp Thing, but it more so pisses me off that it is so damn hard to get work in Hollywood. And TV, and to get those writers a job, get them excited to work and have a job, and then pull the rug out from under them like that, to cut them down to 10 episodes, and then just say, well, the show's out, but we fucking canceled it, so now nobody gives a shit.
By the way, you got to reshoot it so that the end
you have
makes
to
sense.
completely redo the ending because we cut three of your episodes.
3 episodes early.
Yeah. And so it looked like, and that's what's so like, they don't fucking care. They're a $1 billion company. They don't care that they just took those people's lives and ruined it. And
they're getting blowjobs at lunch.
There's no guarantee those guys are going to get work, because now it's probably a black eye on their resume to be like, well, you worked on that shit house fucking Swamp Thing show. It's ridiculous.
No. House fire.
So
Why
let's
don't you walk away.
Yes, let's wrap this up. So the DC Universe failures. Commenting on the cancellation of Swamp Thing on the horror website Bloody Disgusting, writer Brad Mizik, am I
Misca.
Oh, like you fucking know.
Misca.
Misca
with the
speculated that upon its cancellation, Swamp Thing had become, quote, probably the first of many probably. Wow, the first of probably many scapegoats. My brain is dyslexic.
It's okay.
End quotes. So the problem Misca wrote is that the DC Universe was experiencing problems and something had to give. The result was, according to Misca, Time Warner refusing to give the still young streaming service time to breathe.
That's fair.
Comparing it to AMC's handling of the horror streaming service Shudder,
which is also fair.
He criticized DC Universe for giving up too soon and setting themselves up for failure.
No, yeah,
which he's right.
Yeah, to a point.
To a point, yes. Because the DC Universe app, the idea was to only have DC properties, fine. And then it also had the comic book aspect, where you could read books on your TV or on your iPad or whatever. And I think it could have worked, but again, because Shudder is very successful. People love Shudder, and Shudder's a brilliant idea. Just put horror movies on a streaming platform. Awesome idea. But I think the difference is Shudder. I don't know. It's hard to say, because I think there's more effort to be average. There was more advertising behind Shudder. I think
it's kind of promotion wise.
Yeah, AMC pushed Shudder crazy. Like you couldn't for a long time. You couldn't go on a YouTube video without a Shudder ad, or you couldn't watch like I watch a lot of YouTube and watch videos, and a lot of those videos are sponsored by Shudder and podcasts, everything. So I think a lot of it had to do with advertising, because I think we're in such a weird fate. And look, I don't like it. I'm glad that the DC Universe got rolled into HBO Max. I'm glad that they kind of did that. And to a certain extent, I don't mind an HBO Max, and to a certain extent, I don't mind a Disney Plus, because they both have so many properties. But it's so hard to get behind DC Universe in a way because of there's too many fucking streaming platforms. We left cable because of this.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to spend $60-$70 a month, and now we're doing it again.
Well, hang on a second. Now let's chill out on that shit, because I've heard that before. Let's look at what we're paying for here.
Sure.
Now I
understand
when I had all of my shit, I had $5 a month for Paramount Plus. I had I think $7.99 for Hulu, because that's the lowest one you can get. I think I had $4.99 for Netflix. So what? That's like $17 right there already. And then I had now I have HBO Max and Disney Plus. And I think, what is Disney Plus? 20? 10?
I don't know.
I can't remember. See, we don't even know, because we're willing to pay it.
But this is
the point. Is that I don't pay nearly as much as I would have a cable bill. In addition, all of that shit I pay for, I have tons of more free shit that I can watch too. And in fact, if I wanted to get rid of all of the streaming services, I wouldn't, because I love the Disney Plus Marvel shows and the Star Wars shows. If they give me content that I like and I want to watch it, I'll keep it. But it depends on what what you're putting out there. Like Tubi is kind of smart.
Just a lot.
Roku channel is kind of smart because they have that new Bill Burr Immoral Compass show, which is actually out. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks like it might be funny. Bill Burr's a funny guy.
Funny guy.
He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. But those are free streaming services, free streaming apps that are offering free original content, and they're just putting ads in it and selling ad time and making them fucking mint. I'm just saying, there's a way to do it without making us pay for it.
There's also stuff like, Apple TV Plus that is very successful.
Amazon Prime or Prime TV.
Apple TV Plus is so successful because they are committed to doing really good project. Like they're committed to.
Oh, that Tom Hanks movie. What was it? I almost got Apple TV just for that.
I know.
Hitch or something? Or
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Finch.
The one that he's
with a robot.
I think it's the one he got COVID on. Isn't it? No, that was the Western. That was the Western.
Yeah.
And Ted Lasso is a show that I still I want to watch. Everybody I know that's seen it thinks it's fucking great.
Yeah,
I've watched a few episodes. It is pretty fucking funny. I'm not gonna pretend it isn't.
I would get Amazon just for The Boys.
I also want to watch.
Shit is crazy.
I also want to watch the morning show. That seems to be a good show for Apple TV Plus. But see what I mean? Like DC Universe's shows. For it to have had been successful, those shows were going to have to be fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I will say, Doom Patrol is way better than it should be.
Right.
To me, Doom Patrol doesn't make sense of how enjoyable it is. Because it goes whole hog into that Grant Morrison shit and just says, let's make it.
You can tell that there's a lot of people that are dedicated to this show.
Yes, and guys... and
including the actors and the writers.
People that really... Because Gerard Way... is a producer on it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and he wrote Doom Patrol for a while. He did a run on Doom Patrol.
Well, like I said, Doom Patrol was like this weird comic book, and then I don't know if I told you about this, I think, but a couple years later, I went away from it, and it was still largely the same. They had like superhero costumes, but Eric Larson was drawing it, and that was his first big comic book job. And it was like, cool, I'm going to start reading this because the art kicks ass. And then when Grant Morrison took over, I didn't really read it anymore because I don't know if I just didn't read comic books at all. So I don't really have any knowledge of the Grant Morrison arc and stuff. I just know that it's highly acclaimed, and it put Doom Patrol like on the map basically. So, but I'm loving the show. I mean, having Brendan Fraser back is just like having an old uncle who was in jail for a while, you know,
unjustly in jail,
and he totally fucking like plays it like too.
He kills it as Robot Man.
Totally does. The girl who plays Crazy Jane.
Did you know that he's because there's that Batgirl movie?
Yeah, he's gonna be
Firefly in that. I'm like, fuck yeah.
He's also the April Bowlby who plays.
I'm also excited to see Firefly.
She's very attractive and a great actress. Like, because if you my really only exposure to her beforehand was I think her name was Candy on 2.5 Men. She had like a 2-season arc where she got married to Al and she was an old flame of Charlie's. And I watched this because I was at home at 5:30, way before streaming, and that's what was on Fox. Anyway, but
I know what you're talking.
She was a dumb dimbulb and everything, and obviously you know she's acting. But when you see like the vast difference between the two characters and how well she plays like Rita Farr, it's really really cool. The guy who plays Larry Traynor is cool. He's really good. I like how it explores kind of LGBT kind of stuff with the with that storyline a little bit.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of something for everything, and it's funny too.
Yeah. Too bad. Too bad we couldn't be saying this about Swamp Thing because it was unjustly killed.
You fuckers.
Wow. He's right though.
Let's go beat him up, man.
I'm really going back and looking at this story. It just really fucking bums me out. And honestly, I think it also bums me out at how simple the ending to this story is. It really came down to, again,
they didn't want to take a chance.
This is the problem with glorifying fucking dipshits like Elon Musk and fucking Jeff Bezos.
His parents had an emerald mine in fucking apartheid South Africa, you fucking cocksuckers, by the way.
Yeah.
Elon Musk.
Also,
Yeah, suck it.
why are you picking on Bernie Sanders? Why is this?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Why is this 80-year-old man triggering you?
Right? You saw my
Sit-
Facebook post.
Yeah, but anyway.
don't need to
What
see
I
it.
want to say is stop fucking glorifying these assholes. They're
Yeah.
not smart. They're just lucky.
They happen to be in the right place at the right time and happen to seize the
And
moment.
all of these Silicon Valley, the HBO show, I think summed it up perfectly when they had that one guy come on as their CEO. He's a character actor. I can't think of his name. But he comes on and he does all these changes that they hate and don't like because all of these CEOs are the fucking same. And then again, I get frustrated because it's like, really, Warner Brothers, you're going to pay these fucking writers who are probably dirt broke, and this is a job that could make or break their careers. And you're like, yeah, well, fuck it, we're doing 10 episodes. Fuck it, we're canceling it. It's like, then stop committing to projects if you don't want to do them. Why?
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, this has been another episode. Oh, Jesus. This has been.
Jesus. Oh, my Jesus, Lord. Oh, my Jesus, Lord. Oh, my Jesus, Lord.
Jesus wept. We love you, Jesus. Did you say good luck, Jesus?
We love you, Jesus.
Oh, good luck, Jesus.
Good luck, Jesus. I gotta go.
See you on the other side.
Looks like you're pretty comfortable up there right now, so I'll come back tomorrow with some water, see if you're still here.
I could write a book about what you don't know.
You know what, Skeletor? We made a whole fucking podcast out of what you don't know. We literally took that soundbite and made a podcast out of it last episode. Yeah!
What a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, pretty much. Are you just...
Beta.
You're not even talking anymore. You're just...
That's it.